get married, they get. Okay, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala Rasulil Kareem. Remember, we're discussing the chapter on the virtue of Hazrat Abu Bakr radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. We're discussing all the virtues of Hazrat Abu Bakr radiyallahu ta'ala anhum. Next riwayat, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وَأَنْ جُبَيْرِ بْنِ مُطْعِمٍ, narrating the authority of Jubair ibn Mut'im. He said, أَتَتِ النَّبِيَّ صلى الله عليه وسلم امرأة. So remember the file there. أَتَتِ النَّبِيَّ الساكن إذا حرك بالكسر, هذا مفعول, ne? So a woman once came to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. I want to hear you people all saying sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And even the online peoples, I encourage you also, every time you hear the name of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, please say sallallahu alayhi wasallam, right? So a woman came to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, فَكَلَّمَتُهُ فِي شَيْءٍ. She spoke to him, يعني this woman spoke to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam with regards to some need of hers. فأمرها أن ترجع إليه. Then he instructed her, he advised her to perhaps return the next day to him sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Perhaps he didn't have by him what she needed, whatever. So then she said, قالت يا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, said, يا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, uh, right? أرأيت, I tell you many times, أرأيت, literally, أرأيت translate as did you see? But I tell you, you can. Ra'aita, many times you must translate it like, tell me, inform me, what is your opinion? And inshallah, from the context, you'll get a nice translation. So here it means, tell me, in ji'tu, if I come, walam ajidka, and I don't find you, right? And then this is not part of the, I mean, of what we're saying, but the Rawi is saying, whatever the Rawat is saying, that كأنها تريد الموت. Although she was like implying, look, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if I come and you are not here, you have passed away. He said, قال فإن لم تجدني. If you do not find me, then فأتي أبا بكر. Both was Abu Bakr radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, muttafaqun alayh, and this is a muttafaq alayh riwayat. So again, the virtue of this, I mean, the relevance of the hadith with the chapter is quite obvious, that Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam considered to be his second in charge. He considered to be after him the person in charge, as Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Then I mentioned to you before that if you look amongst our ulama, there's two opinions. One is that Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not explicitly mention who his successor is or who his successor was to be, but he dropped hints, right? And then some ulama say, no, like he explicitly mentioned who his successor will be. So these same hadith here, these same hadith, our ulama interpreted in different manners. So some ulama will look at the exact same hadith. They say, look, there's a subtle indication in this hadith as to who the successor of Rasulullah will be. And other ulama look at the same hadith and they say, no, there's not a subtle indication here. They say that hadith is quite clear and emphatic. They look here, if I'm not here, you go to Hazrat Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Say, Fa'ati Aba Bakrin. So, like I tell you, some ulama I say this means that look here, when I'm not here, Abu Bakr will be the Khalifa. He will be in charge. Go to him. He will see to my affairs. Hazrat Imam Nawawi. Remember, is it Imam Nawawi was, although he was, in the Hanafi madhab, just interesting thing I want to tell you, in the Hanafi madhab, you had Imam Abu Hanifa, you had Imam Yusuf, and you had Imam Muhammad, but they were the direct students of Imam Hanifa. So when we speak about after Imam Hanifa, the greatest in the Hanafi madhab would be as Imam Yusuf. In the Shafi madhab, Imam Nawawi came a while after Imam Shafi. Despite him becoming a while after Imam Shafi, he's considered to be the second in command. He's considered to be the second in charge in the Hanafi madhab. And his book, Al Majmu', Shafi, you can't be without that book. It's one of the main, like how we have in the Hanafi madhab, we have Al Asl, like how we are, we have the Zahiru Riwayat. And from amongst the Zahiru Riwayat, the main one is we have Al Asl. In the Shafi madhab, we get Al Majmu'. So if you're Shafi, you have to invest in that. So I was telling you, Imam Nawawi has got a very concise Jami, a very comprehensive Shara of Muslim Sharif. Now, normally the Muslim Sharif that is taught in our madrasas or the Daras in Islamic Kitab, it is called the commentary of Imam Nawawi there beneath it. Like how you see this Kitab you got here, nah? At the bottom there, when you do Muslim Sharif, inshallah, next year, Bismillah, if we all reach that place, Allah Ta'ala make us reach that, inshallah. Then you see on the Bushra parent, on the normally the one that is taught, you got Imam Nawawi's Shara. It is the best, it is the most comprehensive, it's the best Shara. When you do Muslim Sharif next year, you'll benefit a lot from it, inshallah. So anyway, that is Imam Nawawi. So Hazrat Imam Nawawi, rahmatullah alayhi, he says, like I told you, he says, like he's of the opinion that it is not an explicit command. It is not an explicit instruction that Abu Bakr will be the Khalifa. It's just like how we say, ikhbar anil ghaib. Ikhbar anil ghaib is like sometimes Allah Ta'ala give you information from the unseen. It's just like a prediction. Then Mullah Ali Qari, he's the famous Sharih of Mishkaat Shareef. He says the same statement. He says there is a. He says there is an indication in this riwayat. He said there's a subtle indication. It is not an explicit instruction, right? There's also another riwayat where once Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he bought a camel from a villager, a Bedouin from out of town, right? And then Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam owed him some money. He didn't have the full price by him. So Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala anha, who told Hazrat Abu Bakr, the villager, said, go to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam and ask him that, look here, if I come tomorrow, yeah, and you are not here, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, okay, you can say, yani, al-maut turidu al-maut, then who should I go to get the remainder of my debt? So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, go to Hazrat Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Then Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu said to him again, say, ask Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if Abu Bakr is not there, for example, you are not there, Rasulullah, and Abu Bakr is not there, who should I go to? Then Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, go to Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Then as Ali told him again, go back and ask again, that if I go there and Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you're not there, Abu Bakr is not there, Umar is not there, who should I go to get my debt? Then Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, you should go to Hazrat Uthman radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Then as Ali sent him again, go back again and ask that if Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is not there, Abu Bakr is not there, Umar is not there, Uthman is not there, who should I get the debt from? Who should I who should I collect my debt from? So as the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that if you go by the time all of these people, you won't be around also by that time. By the time these people are not around, you will not be around also. And this riwayat is in uh, Mu'jamul Kabir. So again, I told you, uh, it's a matter of interpretation, how our ulama interpret this riwayat. There's a book called Khulasatul Fatawa. Fatawa. One of the main Hanafi fatwa books. I got it by the house. I can bring it to you. I can show it to you. Right? And there it is expressly mentioned, Man ankara khilafata siddiqi fahuwa kafirun. So in light of all these type of riwayat, they say that people, person who denies and says that the khilafat of Hazrat Abu Bakr was not valid, and they say, like how the Shia say, that as Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu usurped the Khilafat from Hazrat Ali, فَهُوَ kafirun. So I told you one is you look at all the isharat and the kinayat of these type of riwayat, right? And in addition to that, you also have the ijma of the Sahaba Ikram, ijma sukuti. When something was done and none of the Sahaba Ikram objected to it, that is a sign that they were happy with it. So if you reject it, and I told you, we discussed in the last meeting also, that there are many, uh, Ali radiallahu ta'ala, maybe initially he showed some consternation, he showed some reluctance, but eventually he did give the bai'at, he did address Hazrat Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala as Khalifatul Rasul. Just remember this, there's an interesting fact. We done this also in Aqidatul Tahawiyah. Initially, as Abu Bakr was referred to as Khalifatul Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And in with other riwayat where the two Sahaba Ikram came and then they referred to as Umar as Amirul Mu'mineen. So the first one to be referred to as Amirul Mu'mineen was as Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And prior to that, Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala was referred to as Khalifatul Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So here the author says, now the present day Shia that are there are many different types of Shia, many different types of Shia, but the ones that are most prominent now in the world are the Ithna Ashariya, or we call them the Twelvers, or we call them the Imamiyah. So if you go back a couple of hundred of the years, they were not the prominent ones, they were the least prominent ones. They were the least. But now what happened in our time is they got into government. They got into government. And since they got into government, so obviously they got the resources of the government. So now they are the most prominent of all the Shias. But actually, if you look at it, like 200, 300 years ago, they were the least prominent, the Ithna Ashariya. So here the author says, from amongst the many problems, the other problems we will discuss. We discussed the mut'awan, etc., etc. So from amongst the many problems or the serious differences we have with the current day Ithna Ashariya Shia, those are ones that are in power, that is ruling in Iraq, etc., etc. They do not, at a minimum, they don't accept the Khilafat of Umar. And at a maximum, the most serious ones, they even go to the extent, na'udhu billah, the most serious ones, they said that as Abu Bakr was a kafir. The more serious ones, they say that all the Sahaba Ikram became kafir, except who? As the Fatima, as radiallahu ta'ala anha, as Ali radiallahu ta'ala anha, radiallahu ta'ala anhu, as Hassan, Hussein, as Bilal, and as Salman al-Farsi, and as Khadija al-Kubra radiallahu ta'ala anha. We carry on, read the next one.
عمرو بن العاص رضي الله تعالى عنه النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم جيش ذات السلاسل قال أتيته فقلت أي الناس أحب إليك قال عائشة قلت من الرجال قال أبوها قلت ثم من قال فعد رجال فسكت مخافة أن يجعل
Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. عن عمر بن العاص أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بعثه على جيش ذات السلاسل. Narrating the authority of Amr ibn al-As, he said that Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam once sent him. Who he sent? What is it who refer to? Yusuf, what does it refer to? And Amr ibn al-As أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بعثه على جيش ذات السلاسل. What does the who refer to? Very good, mashallah. Normally, the standard rule is whenever you get the zamir, it's referred to the closest, what you call it then, eh? Like how in English you say, Zaid came and then he sat down. So who does he refer to? Refer to Zaid. That is the normal default ruling. I say Zaid came, then he spoke, then he sat down, then he ate. Normally refer. Yes, there are exceptions. There are exceptions where the zamir will maybe refer. Generally, I said it refer to the closest marja. It's called the marja. But there are certain exceptions where it refer to further back or whatever. But generally, so Amr ibn As, once he was sent with the army, the battles, the Atus Salasil. Salasil also means change, right? Like I remember, inshallah, I can't remember exactly now why this battle was called Zatus Salasil. But inshallah, if you people are still around next year, if I'm still around, there's the chapter you're doing, Bukhari Sharif, Kitabul Maghazi. What is it? Kitabul Maghazi. That is the chapter of all the battles that we will do in detail, inshallah. Right, 27 battles in the lifetime of Nabi Sallallahu, and he took part in about 17, I think. Right, we'll do that. So, قال أتيته. So in this battle, I came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. فقلت أي الناس أحب إليك? Which person is the most beloved to you? قال عائشة. He said Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha. Ulama explained, they say, see, you shouldn't feel shy to say that your wife is the most beloved person to you. Sometimes maybe you feel shy to say your wife is the most beloved person to you, right? You feel shy to tell her yourself. So he said, Aisha radiallahu, qultu mina rijali. So he said, no, I mean actually from the men, not from the woman. I mean like from the men. Tell me from the Sahaba Ikram, who is the most beloved to you, right? So then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu, right? قلت من الرجال قال أبوها father قلت ثم من then who, right? قال عمر, then he said Umar, right? فعد رجالا, then he asked him again who and again who, so he mentioned a few men, right? فسكت مخافة أن يجعلني في آخرهم. Who knows what this means here? فسكت مخافة أن يجعلني في آخرهم. Just give you a minute to think about it. Tell me what it means. What does this mean here? فسكت. If the online people know, they can tell us also what does this part mean here. فسك... Put a drum there. Put a drum to keep it. فسكت مخافة أن يجعلني في آخرهم. What does this mean? Think about it. Give you a minute each one. Online people be waiting for you also to answer. فسكت مخافة أن يجعلني في آخرهم. I'll give you a minute to think about it. Okay, so we've got the right answer here. The online people already one. Somebody gave the right answer. What's the right answer? Did you think the same thing? What did you think the same thing? What you thought? Yeah, so that's correct, mashallah. I remain quiet out of fear that my name will come last. So before my name come last, let me rather keep quiet. Before my name come last, let me rather keep quiet. Okay, so three things in this hadith. The first, I told you, whenever you're doing the hadith, inshallah, also inshallah, you'll see when we do, inshallah, next year when we start Bukhari Sharif, inshallah, you'll see there also one of the main things in Bukhari Sharif, you got the heading, which is called Tarjamatul Bab. What's it called? So you need to find a link between the Tarjamatul Bab and the Hadith. So there's a book, Hazrat Sheikh Zakaria Rahmatullah wrote. The book goes like this. I remember, if I can remember the name. Uh, the book of Hazrat Sheikh Zakaria. Alf, Al-Fiqh wa Tarajim. I think I can't. But anyway, to see the link between the heading and the hadith. So what Imam Bukhari done, listen nicely, what he understood, he would have a heading there, right? And he'll have a lot of hadith there, right? So what he understood from that hadith, what was his understanding? Remember, his understanding, we don't always agree with him because we follow, you follow Imam Shafi, we follow Imam Abu Hanifa, we follow what our Imams understood. Yes, we respect Imam Bukhari that he has the strongest hadith. We respect him that he was very meticulous, etc. But we don't agree with what he understands from the hadith, what his imbat was, because we follow our own Imam, right? So you follow from the same hadith. You follow what Imam Shafi understood from the hadith. You'll follow me, I'll follow what Imam Hanifa understood from the hadith. So we don't always agree what he understood. So normally in the heading of the hadith, he will have, Imam Bukhari will have what he understood from the hadith. That's why ulama say, Fiqhul Bukhari fi tarajumi. What? Fiqhul Bukhari fi tarajumi. What Imam Bukhari understood from the hadith, whatever he understood, it is contained in the Tarjumatul Bab, right? So we, inshallah, when we do Bukhari Sharif, we will tell you that we don't agree with Imam Bukhari here. This is what he understood, but we don't agree with him. We don't agree with Imam Bukhari, and we'll give you the reasons why we don't agree with him. And we'll give you the proofs also why we don't agree with him, etc., etc. Okay, the first thing here with this hadith is, what is the relevance of the hadith with the Bab? The relevance is pretty simple. That here we're discussing the virtue of Hazrat Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was quite clear in emphatic that out of all the people, the closest to him, the person he was most fond of, etc., was Hazrat Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Right. Um, so here, this particular Sahabi, he wanted to know the status of the Sahaba Ikram. Hence, he asked this particular question. Right. Then Ulama mentioned something very, very interesting in this hadith. And the interesting thing they mention is this here, that this Sahabi, we know Amr ibn al-As, he was a great Sahabi. He was from the Asham Mubashara, isn't it? But he wasn't from the top ranking Sahabi. But why did he ask this question? Why did he ask this question? What is the reason why he asked this question? What is the reason why he asked this question? Any idea? Online people can even tell us what is the reason why he asked this question. Lukman, Yusuf, any reason why he asked this question? That he had a hope in his heart that perhaps he's also from the very close persons to Rasulullah. He had a hope, he had a slight hope in his heart that he's also from the very, very close Sahaba. But when he saw no, he's not from the close, because Nabi Sallallahu was being honest, and was necessary for him to be honest so that the Ummah could know who are the most virtuous. But when he saw now that he's not from the very, very close ones, what he done? He kept quiet, right? So this is ulama mentioned something interesting. They say, look here, why did he have that hope? Why did he have that hope? Why did he have? Because of the way Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam interacted with him. Because of the way Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam made him feel special, etc., etc. So ulama mentioned that you see from this hadith, we learn also that from amongst the sunnats, the many, many sunnat, or the plural of sunan, from the amongst the many sunan of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is to make every single person feel special, to make every single person feel important, to make every single person feel like, for example, if a student never come one day, madrasa, say, oh, we missed you. You know, the class was incomplete. I couldn't teach properly because you were not here. You know, every time you stay absent, our class, there's no noor in the class. Every time Ismail is not here, there's no noor. The class is dark. We miss you. Every time Yusuf is not here, it's so lonely, the class. We can't even manage without you. So you make everyone feel special. That was the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So even in a workplace, just a simple example, in a work scenario, for example, you can make everyone feel special. Even the person that's cleaning, the person is cleaning, say, hey, you play a very important role in this madrasa. Because if you don't clean here nicely, we can't study. Even the person is making the tea, maybe certain places. Okay, yeah, but madrasa, they don't give tea to the teachers. At school, they give tea to the teachers. The tea lady, if the teachers don't get their tea here, they can't function properly. They all go a little bit crazy. So you can even make that tea lady feel special. So Allah Ta'ala give us so this is the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, to make every single person feel special. So I told you, I mentioned before to you that all our awliya, all the buzruks, many always had one, they had one outstanding feature that was from the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So those who interacted with Hazrat Muhammad Masfillah rahmatullah alayhi Masih al-Ummah, I tell you, he was the sheikh of many ulama in this country, and many of the ulama in Port Elizabeth, they studied there. Ulama say without an atom of doubt, that was his salient feature. This was his Hazrat Masfillah rahmatullah alayhi. This was his salient feature. He made every single person feel special. Every single person, every single student would believe that he's the favorite student. He would believe that he's the favorite student to such an extent. I was just reading, just picked up the book once, when there was a young boy that come maybe from South Africa. When he came and he met the boy was crying. He said, why are you crying? What's the problem, etc. I'm missing my home. So he said to him, don't be hard. So it doesn't make you happy that I will be your father, and my wife Ambijan, she will be your mother, and my son Baijan, he will be your brother. So that is also a sunnah to practice upon Allah. Give us the tawfiq to um make people feel special irrespective of who they are. Like I told you, you can even make the cleaner feel special. Because if this place is not clean, how are we going to study? We won't be able to concentrate. We can make the tea ladies feel special, etc. Allah Ta'ala give us tawfiq to practice upon the sunnah. Read the next hadith, inshallah. Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وعن محمد ibn al-Hanafiya. So listen to, you have to follow here. Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiya was who? Was this son of Ali. قال قلت لأبي, I said to my father, يعني it was Ali, أي الناس خير بعد النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. Right, which person was the most virtuous? أي الناس خير بعد النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. Which person was the best person after Rasulullah? قال أبو بكر. There's Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu himself said what as Abu Bakr. It was Ali radiallahu ta'ala himself said that as Abu Bakr was the most virtuous. And who are the Shia? Who are the Shia to come and say that as Ali was the most virtuous? Who are the Shia to come and say that as Abu Bakr snatched the Khilafat away from as Ali, right? ثم قال said Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu. So yeah, the son says, well, so obviously the son, he wants his own father to come up top on the list. وخشيت أن يقول عثمان. So I feared that he was Usman. قلت ثم أنت. I said, oh my father, then I'm sure you must be the next most virtuous person, right? ثم أنت. قال ما أنا إلا رجل من المسلمين. And they look at the tawadhu, the humility of Ali. He said, no, me, I don't feature in that list. ما أنا إلا رجل من المسلمين. I'm not but an ordinary person from among the Muslimin. رواه البخاري. Imam Bukhari mentions this riwayat. So I was telling you, as Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu himself, he accepted the virtue of his Abu Bakr, his Umar, his Uthman, etc. So who are the Shia? What gives them the right to come and say that Hazrat Abu Bakr, Hazrat Umar, Hazrat Uthman usurp the God-given right, right? And then this is Rawah Bukhari. There's a Bukhari Sharif riwayat, right? That is the next riwayat. طيب بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. عن ابن عمر عن ابن عمر درجنا أثارة ابن عمر قال كنا في زمن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. He say even in the time of Nabi صلى الله عليه وسلم, forget about afterwards. لا نعدل بأبي بكر أحدا. We wouldn't equate anybody to Hazrat Abu Bakr. We would consider him the best after Rasulullah. ثم عمر, then Umar, right? So sorry, ثم عمر, because ثم لا نعدل بأبي بكر لا نعدل بعمر, right? But anybody got in a حركة Umar in your kitab there? What you got? Umar, yeah, because it is مجرور but غير منصرف, نه. So كنا لا نعدل بأبي بكر كنا لا نعدل بعمر غير منصرف, right? Because it is was it that law day when a word changes, remember with others, when a word, the original word was Amir, it changed to Umar and becomes غير منصرف. What do you call it? Musahaf of Muharraf. Who knows? Anybody remembers the law when a noun changes from one form to another form, became غير منصرف, right? ثم Uthman that you know is غير منصرف because alif nun زائدة. So كنا لا نعدل بأبي بكر أحدا ثم بعمر ثم بعثمان, right? Then he say ثم نترك أصحاب النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. So after this, we wouldn't, after Uthman, we wouldn't really have any specific order. ثم نترك أصحاب النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لا نفاضل بينهم. We don't give virtue to one over the other one, right? رواه البخاري. Imam Bukhari narrates this. وفي رواية لأبي داود, and in another رواية of Abu Dawud Sharif قال كنا نقول, we used to say, ورسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم حي. Even while Rasulullah was alive, we used to say, أفضل أمتي, we used to say what we used to say, أفضل أمة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, right, أفضل أمة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بعده أبو بكر. So even in the life of Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu, we used to say that as Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu was the most virtuous of all people, right? Right, ثم عمر ثم عثمان رضي الله تعالى عنه. Okay, so the relevance of that hadith is pretty simple. Okay, I see we finished the first fasal. Tomorrow is the second fasal. Let's stop there. It's a good place to stop. We'll switch over to the tafsir, inshallah. I think we stop busy with the English, nah?